I was the tragic first love, the one who died taking a knife for the male lead. 10 years later, a system dragged me back from the grave and informed me that I had been assigned a mission. Apparently, I was supposed to become someone's stepmother. Host, your first task is simple. Save the child on the rooftop. He is your husband's son. If you do not interfere, he will die today. I did not want that on my conscience, but I had been spoiled and unreasonable for most of my life. So I marched over in high heels, tapped the boy with my toe, and said, "Really? What kind of dramatic tantrum is this? You are as ridiculous as your father." I held out my hand. "Where is your dad?"
"Call him.
"He can come pick me up." The kid stared at me like I had appeared through a portal. He did not ask who I was. He did not question a thing. He simply bowed his head again. His defeated posture irritated me. I grabbed his phone. "You know his number?" The screen was empty. No messages, no calls, not even spam. After some hesitation, he typed in a number. The phone rang once before the call died. My brow twitched. Patrick Shaw has some nerve, ignoring his own kid. The boy kept quiet, standing there like a statue. 8 calls later, someone finally answered. A woman. Patrick Shaw's office. "He is occupied." Then she hung up. I wanted to hurl the phone off the roof, but the boy tugged my sleeve. I swallowed my anger. "All right, sweetheart, fine. We will go find him ourselves." He nodded weakly, still holding on to me. After a moment, he whispered, "Do not want to trouble anyone." Those words deflated me like cold water on a fire. I sighed. "Then let's go." Once we were in the car, I studied him more closely. "Your name is Sam?" He hummed in response. I asked the system quietly, "He really belongs to Patrick?" "According to your world's paperwork, yes." So I accepted my new fate. Stepmother. Wonderful. I tried to chat with Sam. I asked what he liked to eat.
He said anything.
I asked what games he liked. He stayed silent. I asked why he was on a rooftop. He turned his head away. My patience snapped. I pulled him onto my lap and asked if Patrick even knew his son was playing jump off the building. He finally looked up, slow and mechanical, and answered word for word. "Dad is busy. Do not want to be a bother." I tasted frustration at the back of my throat. Was that the only phrase Patrick had taught him? The system tried to soothe me. "He is not difficult. He is too considerate. He hides everything." I knew that. Any fool could see it. The problem was the adults around him, not him. The car stopped in front of a house I knew too well. System. What about his mother? There is none. None? I stepped inside and felt like time had folded in on itself. My coat was still hanging by the door, untouched. No trace of another woman anywhere. Well, except a green hairpin on the console. I went to the second floor on instinct, opened the door to my old room, and found it frozen exactly as I had left it. When I returned downstairs, Sam had disappeared. I found him crouched in the living room working through a calculus workbook thicker than my thigh. This child was frighteningly obedient. Has he always been like this? I asked. MHM. For Patrick Shaw's son, being anything less than perfect is considered troublesome. I marched over, grabbed the workbook, and threw it out. Sam stared at me, head tilted, as if his internal system had short-circuited. We had a silent staring contest. 10 minutes later, I admitted defeat and rubbed my face. "I am hungry." Sam understood that instantly and ran to the kitchen. He turned on the gas stove like it was something he had been doing for years. My heart almost stopped. "Do not touch that." I shut off the gas, and he shrank into the corner like a frightened kitten. I asked the system, "How old is he?" 6. Wonderful. A 6-year-old cooking for himself. Patrick must be insane. I paced around, trying to calm down. Finally I said, "That is too dangerous. We are eating out." Then I rounded on the system. "Explain the last 10 years right now." It glitched, then began. After I died, Patrick dove into work until he practically became a machine. He ignored everything else, including Sam. He hired nannies, but since he was never around, they mistreated the boy. The abuse only came to light when the bruises became impossible to hide. Patrick fired the nanny. For the first time in his life, Sam spoke up. "I can take care of myself. I do not need anyone. I will not be a bother." He meant it. He had lived alone ever since. Patrick's assistant, a woman named Olivia, only came by occasionally to check on him. "Who is Olivia?" "Patrick's new assistant, hired after your death." The system kept talking. She is friendly at work, which is why Patrick trusted her. But Sam disliked her from the start. Why? She tried to manipulate him. She told him to tell Patrick that he wanted her as his mother. When he refused, she began targeting him. My jaw clenched.
How?
She told Patrick that Sam was slow. She told Sam that Patrick wished he would disappear. She told him he was a burden, and once she married Patrick, all his problems would end. My fists curled tight. A burden? Is that so? Host, what are you planning? Helping Patrick get his eyes checked. If he cannot see clearly, he might as well donate them. And as for Olivia, anyone who bullies a child like that will regret it. Right on cue, Olivia arrived. Her shrill voice carried from the door. You brat, this water is boiling. Are you trying to kill me? And who is this woman? Do you think this is a shelter? She sneered at Sam. As if it is not enough dealing with you. Now you drag a stranger in? Tell her to get out. For the first time, Sam moved. He stood in front of her.
No.
Olivia's face twisted. Do you want me to call your father and have him throw you on the street? He lowered his head but stayed put. My chest tightened. I walked up to Olivia. You like talking about trash so much. Why are you not recycled yet? Before she could react, my hand slapped across her cheek. You hit me? Of course I did. I pulled Sam behind me. She clutched her face. Do you know who I am? I am Patrick's most trusted assistant, the woman he relies on. You think winning over this kid matters? I will be the one standing beside Patrick. When that happens, the two of you are gone.
She pointed at Sam.
And as for you, that room upstairs has been locked for 10 years. No one is allowed in. You let her into it. If I tell him, you are finished. I slapped her again. She backed away, stunned. You hit me twice? Do I need to book a time slot? She lunged. Sam stepped in front of me, without hesitation. She spat a string of curses, then dialed Patrick. Mr. Shaw, Sam brought a strange woman into the house. He even let her into your late wife's room. And they hit me. I scoffed. Look at that, the guilty one calling first. Wait. Patrick's voice cut through the line, shaking slightly. Turn on the video. Let me see her face. Olivia hesitated but switched to video and aimed the phone at me. Sam suddenly flicked his hand and knocked Olivia's phone straight to the floor. Leave. He didn't bother looking at her. He just grabbed my wrist, pulled me inside, and shut the door before she could react. Olivia shrieked and hammered on the door from the hallway. Open this door. Sam, do you even know who you are messing with? If your father hears about this, you'll be sleeping on the curb. I ignored her. My eyes stayed on Sam. Why did you do that? He turned his head away like a scolded cat, saying nothing. Olivia kept ranting until I snapped the door open again and shoved her back. Move. She hesitated, then stormed off with a dramatic huff. Sam immediately started shaking. Panic rippled through him, so fast, I almost dropped to my knees. System, get here.
Now.
What is wrong with him? Is he ill? The answer came after a pause. He is frightened. Frightened. That stunned me. This kid could stand on a rooftop without blinking, yet this rattled him? Don't go. He wrapped his arms around my waist, muffling the words against my shirt. I froze. My heart squeezed. I'm right here. I'm not leaving. He kept trembling, so I finally scooped him up. You know, I returned to this world for you. As long as you need me, I'm staying. Sam lifted his fluffy head, confused eyes staring at me. Then slowly he extended his pinky. Pinky promise.
All right.
Our fingers hooked, and a small smile curved his lips. Smile again, I teased. His ears turned bright red, and he bolted away. I let him go, then headed for Patrick's study. I turned on his computer and opened the reports I'd skimmed before. The company looked stable. Too stable. Patrick's constant busyness didn't match the numbers. Something was off. I resisted the urge to beat the monitor with a chair, and I kept digging until one entry stopped me cold. Edgewater Real Estate? What is this idiot thinking? System. Find out who pitched this to him. Another pause. Your father. I sat back, stunned. My family had left real estate years ago. The Shaws too. And Edgewater was tiny, unknown. Not worth the cost. None of it made sense. I was still staring at the screen when a small head peeked through the doorway. Water. His hands twisted nervously. You're adorable, I said, pulling him close. He flushed all over again. He settled on my lap, but pointed at the screen. I remember this. What do you remember? Dad was yelling that day. When he threw stuff, I saw these words. My breath stilled. Did you hear anything else? He tilted his head, thinking, then shook it, disappointed. Then someone took me away. If it won't come back, don't force it. Let's eat. While he changed clothes, I called Chloe. Look into Patrick's Edgewater deal. And check my father. Don't tell my mother. Chloe fell silent. All right. And Amelia, seeing you again feels unreal. My throat tightened. It's good to hear your voice too. Your parents divorced the year you passed away. After we hung up, dread washed over me. My parents had always seemed unbreakable. How had everything changed so drastically? I couldn't dwell on it. Today was the ribbon cutting for the Edgewater project. I headed straight there. Just as I reached Patrick's hotel room, Chloe grabbed my arm. Something's off. A crash came from inside. I grabbed the nearest heavy object and ran. Chloe kicked the door open. 2 men in black were fighting Patrick, both clearly trained. Patrick was losing. Chloe tackled one. The other pulled a syringe and lunged for Patrick. I smashed a wine bottle across his head. As he turned, my heel cracked against his temple. Both attackers fell. Patrick slumped to the floor. When he saw me, he blinked hard, like his eyes were lying to him. I'm dead, he whispered. Amelia, you came for me. I missed you so much. Blood covered him as he stumbled toward me with open arms. I dropped the bottle and slapped him so hard he fell. He kneeled there, dazed. Amelia, it's really you. He reached again, hesitating, afraid I would disappear. I grabbed his hair and slapped him once more. He clung to my wrist like it was a lifeline. Why did you leave your kid alone? How could you raise him like that? Amelia, he isn't mine. I froze. Before you died, you asked me to do good deeds. So I adopted him. He searched my face, guilty and desperate. Have you been all right all those years? Images of his tears beside my hospital bed flashed through my mind. 3 critical condition notices. Tubes everywhere. His voice trembling as he begged me to come home, so I wouldn't hurt anymore. I had lied to him, trying to give him something to live for after I was gone. I wiped my face roughly and slapped him again. If you're going to raise a child, then act like a father. He's a kid, and you left him with that woman? Patrick bowed his head. No one taught me how to be a father. I raised him the way I was raised. I gave him money. I gave him freedom, I thought. I tossed the first aid kit at him. 3 minutes. Clean yourself up, then talk. Okay. He crawled over, nuzzling my hand like a dog. Patrick might look like a gentle scholar, but underneath, he was a feral street dog. I wasn't much better. We met at a street race, him pretending to be a model student and me bored out of my mind. I offered him money, just to see what he'd do. He accepted without blinking, then won the race like it was nothing. Later, I beat up 10 guys who had jumped him, only for him to ask again if the deal still stood. I mocked him, but he kept showing up, kept clinging to me, until he tore his father's house apart and rebuilt his own empire from the ground up. When he proposed, I thought we had made it. I thought we had reached the part where life finally quieted down. I was wrong. After his men dragged the intruders away, Patrick looked at me with dread. Do you know what killed you? I shook my head. It was a biological agent. Your father's lab made it using your umbilical cord blood. I stared at him, numb. Why? Because his son was born. Air left my lungs. I was his only child. Your mother found out a month after you died. My knees weakened. Patrick pulled me into his arms as tears spilled down my face. Don't cry. Your mother and I are close to ending this. After the divorce, my mother's lawyers drained my father dry. He poured what he had left into his lab. It wasn't a medical lab. It was a weapon. Using a person's blood, he engineered the perfect slow-killing disease. And the Edgewater project was a mask for it. What was the plan? Blow up that lab today. I rubbed my forehead. He knew. That's why he sent those men. Patrick, have you considered that Edgewater might be a decoy? Patrick went pale. I assured him my father didn't know I was back. Then I told him where the real lab might be, the ancestral hall he had renovated. We set a decoy car and returned to Edgewater. Days passed with no movement. On the 3rd night, a fake cleaning lady rolled out a trash can. Instinct kicked in. 1 brick later, the woman was on the ground, and the trash bin was full of vials. Just then Chloe called. They had my father. He sat on the floor of the ancestral hall when we arrived, smiling like he'd been expecting me. Amelia, you finally came back. I asked the system what was going on, but even it stuttered. My father rambled about discovering the system and using it for research, then about wanting a son so his empire wouldn't be handed over once I married. Stop calling me Amelia. It makes my skin crawl. I told him the woman delivering the vials had been caught, and the police were on their way. He switched tones instantly. Work with me. My lab makes millions a day. With the system, we could take half each. And your son? He can have a little. I snorted. You already killed me for him once. You expect me to believe that? He leaned forward, eyes shining. What will it take for you to agree? I smiled slowly. If he dies, I agree. I'm worth more than a random organ. He needed only 3 seconds. Deal. Send him to a psychiatric hospital. But I agreed to your terms. I'm your father. You can't do this to me. He was scum. Beyond scum. You'll give me the password to disable the lab's security. All data and vials must be destroyed. I looked at the air beside me. System, you can handle that, right? I waited. Yes. So, this was the real purpose behind bringing me back, wasn't it? When did you figure it out? It had taken me a while, but the clues were too obvious once I put them together. Patrick hardly ever came home, and the computer was practically untouched. Yet Sam overheard that argument, and I just happened to stumble across a plan that made no sense. The system had definitely helped Patrick and my mother uncover the truth about the lab.
Partly.
Your death came from an error on our side. To correct it, I needed to assign you a mission and guide you through dismantling everything tied to that mistake. The system sounded almost ashamed. I let the topic drop. With the lab destroyed and the evidence gone, the police were out of the question. So I had my father committed, and his mistress ended up as his caretaker, the perfect punishment for them both. His son was 10 already. What to do with him became the next issue. My mother set her jaw and said, "Send him overseas." When she first saw me, she nearly collapsed, but all she said was, "You came back. That is enough." The system finished its task and had to leave. Amelia, that rogue system gave your father a gene editing tutorial and a security protocol. We have been repairing the damage for years. Thank you for your help. Before I go, I can grant you one wish. I asked everyone. Patrick only held my hand and said he already had what he wanted. My mother said the same. That left Sam. Do you want to make a wish?
Sam thought about it.
Can you stay with me forever? I will. Then I do not need anything else. So I told the system to save the wish for later. When he grew up, I would tell him who his birth parents were. If he wanted to search for them, the system could guide him. Patrick fired Olivia the next day. She had never been his assistant, only Sam's caretaker. No wonder she had been so desperate for him to call her mother. I transferred Sam to a new school, and he slowly learned how to voice what he felt. My mother spoiled him to the point she sometimes forgot I existed. Patrick, on the other hand, turned into an oversized puppy and clung to me constantly, telling me about every little event I had missed. Life was healing. Only one thing stayed awkward: the distance between Patrick and Sam. Dad, can you help me with this problem? Sam reached out first. My throat tightened. Patrick straightened his back, cleared his throat, and approached like he was walking into a battlefield. It is easy. You solve it with a system of linear equations. He was 6. 6. What system of equations? Thanks, Dad. I get it now. Apparently, I was the only one who did not get it, so I quietly backed out and left them to their bizarre version of father-son bonding. Everything felt peaceful. Then one night, Sam climbed into my bed and curled against me. For the first time, he whispered, "Mom. Mom, are you going to have a baby of your own? You are my baby." He gave me a patient smile and shook his head. "You do not have to pretend, Mom. If she called me a bastard, then I know I am not yours and Dad's by blood." "Damn you, Olivia." I held him tight. "You are our child. Mom, even if you did not give birth to me, I love you both. I do not want you to avoid having more children because of me. I will love whoever you love." Patrick had been standing at the door. He came over and rested his hand on Sam's back. "I am sorry. I forgive you, Dad." I cupped Sam's cheeks. "We're going to love you for the rest of our lives. If one day you have a little brother or sister, nothing will change. Not for us, not for you. I love you and Dad." He tucked his face against my shoulder. "Mom, I want to tell you something. That day on the rooftop, I was not going to jump. A voice told me I was going to have a mom. Patrick wrapped his arms around both of us. Then why did you not tell me I was going to have a wife? Because you were never home. You little brat. I could not help but laugh. I was grateful for this new beginning, grateful that all three of us finally got the life we wanted.